like hands raised.
Sorry.
If you want to raise your hand or just shout it out, that's more than okay. But the first question that I'm curious about is if anybody knows what the relationship between food and power is, or maybe what the relationship between food and power might mean for you. Yes. Also, if you can share your name and your pronouns so I know I'm addressing you respectfully.
I'm Max, he, him. I think like if you have power, you naturally have more food just because you have the ability to provide for yourself. My thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Max. So yeah, it brings power because you're sustaining yourself. You're providing that for yourself, which is exactly what we wanted. That's a great answer. That's a perfect answer. Because some might look at this question and be like, "Oh, that makes sense. When you eat, you get energy and then you feel power." And that's one way, right? But also the idea of having that self-sufficiency, of having a say in what grows in your neighborhood is also very powerful too. So thank you. Also, I'll leave it for a couple more seconds in case anybody wants to jump in and say anything about this. So, yes. Okay. Well, if anything comes up at any point, again, feel free to just raise your hand or just shout it out. And we're not doing these breakout times because we're not on Zoom, which is really good. So with that said, I Fernando really likes this photo. He kind of uses it as a metaphor for La Mesa Verde and kind of like talking about how it was born. It was a seed. And so the really unique thing about this program is that it was born as a response to the 2008 economic crisis. Now, I'm not sure, what everybody's family situation was at that time, but it was really difficult. It was a really hard time for a lot of folks. And food insecurity was at a really big, like all-time high, right? Especially in the US, there's a lot going on here. And so this very awesome individual named Raul Lozano saw this lack of food, healthy food in neighborhoods of San Jose. And he starts to think like, what if it was in people's own backyard? And that is a little bit about how Las Mesa Verde came to be. So I think that's, very empowering and also again very unique because it has the story and it has these roots already. And it's rooted in something that is really important and very life-changing. So this is the pathway of evolution. As humans, we go through evolution too. Nature goes through evolution. And so our program has went through its own as well. And so, as I mentioned earlier, is before it was started during the 2008 crisis. So kind of started more as like a charity. So providing training and materials so people can grow their own food and more of like a service, right? Like, oh, we see people need it, we're gonna be the ones that provide it. But then as time kind of went on, they noticed that the members wanted to have more of a say or more like involvement in the program. They wanted to actually be a part of the program and the decision making. So then they opened it up so that the same people who were receiving these services, so maybe they were families that were receiving seeds or helping with the gardens, then they had a chance to give back, which was a milestone because before that, the same people who were receiving couldn't give. And, people want to give back to the same things that helped them, right? So we love that. And then it kind of shifted into this community leadership. Not only were they able to, help the program by volunteering, they had great leadership skills. Maybe they were leaders in their schools or in their churches or like other programs that they're a part of, right? They're a leader in their community and people know them and they respect them. So La Mesa Verde kind of started shifting to having members have leadership and have a say in how the program is run or maybe any changes that they want to see or just be in that decision making process. Um, Kind of working towards advocacy too. So we love to see that. And now we're kind of here in this agroecology part. So not only is this like important for growing your own food, right? The gardening part is so exciting, but we also understand that in order to make real change, we also have to change policy. Because a lot of these companies that hold a lot of wealth and provide our food, they have very what's the word like they have a lot of resources, right? They have representatives, they have lawyers, they have all kinds of stuff, money. But what we have is people power. And so if we really want to see that change happen in our communities, we have to not only be involved, but also, be a part of that policy change and having a say in how we want to see our communities. Right. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and that is why we're so focused on food justice. So taking care of our community while also taking care of nature is kind of like what agroecology um is summarized. So definitely very important. Does anybody like want to share it, like kind of like what thoughts this brings up for them? Do they find anything interesting about it? I just love hearing people's opinions, so I'm like, if anything comes up, please um give it a couple seconds.
Let me say something.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Name, pronouns, yes.
Me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
Like, wait, can you repeat like what you want me exactly to say?
Oh no, I was just asking like people's thoughts on this, like if you have like so far like what you think about what you've been hearing, or like do you find anything particularly interesting or curious?
Um, I'd probably say like I like how it started, like in response to like the food crisis to like help communities, because I feel like that's really important to look out for others.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Can
Yeah.
you remind me your name?
Oh yeah. My name is Lutfi.
Lisby?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Wait, no, I wanna make sure I say it correctly. What is it?
Yeah, Lutfi. Lutfi.
Okay. Oh, Lutfi. Lifty. Lifty?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Fine.
Oh no, if it's wrong, you gotta tell me so I don't get it.
Don't worry about
You
it.
gotta tell me. Oh, I'm a worry because I also have a name that people mispronounce. So, um, it's okay to correct people when they say your name wrong, guys. I just want you to know that. Because it's your name, right? Like that's who you are. So, um, just so that I don't forget, please tell me one more time.
Wait, my name?
Yes,
Lutfi.
Lutfi. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, perfect, right? So that right there, do that with anybody who ever says your name wrong. This goes for anybody. But what you said, what you said is very key, right? Taking care of others is special. It's important. And that's also my favorite fact too. I did not know that. And when I found out, I was like, that's very powerful. Um, so here's just like some demographics about our program. There's 190 active gardeners, and that means that they can be a variety of things. So these could either be families that receive seedlings or help build the garden beds, or they receive like they help us out at events. So that is kind of what like active gardeners suggest or like is trying to explain or and then it's what's really interesting here is that there's a lot of women that are in the program. So, I was talking to Fernando yesterday and they're like, we need to include more like feminist ideology into our work because it's such a high like demographic. So I find that very amazing. And for women, right? And for the community. These are some of the zip codes where there's a lot of people that are involved in La Mesa Verde. A lot of these folks are low income. So, helping people can also come from a place of like understanding, oh, I go through this too, or my family is in a need. And these are the demographics of folks who are involved in the program. I would really like to see like more people of color and like to see these numbers rise. So hopefully we can see that in the next year. And I like gonna do my best to be able to expand our program so it has more of a reach because San Jose is a very diverse city. But this is what it kind of looks like right now. So these are the different committees of Mesa Verde. And these are some of the things. So there's about 5 or 6 people in each committee, or 5 to 8 people. And so they're all in charge of different aspects of the program that help it run smoothly. So here, the Food Justice Access Program is the one that I will be leading. It's been pretty dormant for a while because there wasn't anybody to fill the space or lead this committee. But I'm really excited about that. And this is going to be a lot of like policy work, a lot about social justice. Um, and so social activities are the people who might put together the events for Mesa Verde, like the holiday parties, if there are any, or just like anything where people are gathering and like social activities. So that's these folks right here. Almost like the communications department or like the event planning department of Mesa Verde. The advisory committee are the folks that make decisions on behalf of La Mesa Verde. So they are really important in the decision-making role and like giving their opinions. I'm pretty sure like a lot of these folks have been a part of the program for a while too. So they really know the ins and outs of how it works. And so this is just so that, members have a say in the program that they're giving their energy to. The kids club is run by parents, and this is more teaching their young children or other people's children, how to garden. So that's really exciting. Building committee is what we hope that y'all can help us with, which is building those garden beds. That's really the heart of it. And this is gonna take, it seems like it's a step process, but like I said, the first day is Saturday the 21st. And we'll make sure to follow up with information so y'all are prepared ahead of time and know everything that you need for that day. And the mentor committee is really neat. So these are people who join the program, and there is a core group of people who mentor these new families. It's a new experience for them. They might have a lot of questions or a lot of concerns, but what's really neat is that there's people ready there to help them. There's a experienced gardener who does, if the family wants, they can do monthly visits, kind of just walk them through and give them that extra support. So that is a little bit about the structure of the overall program. The way that our project manager kind of describes this is the soul of La Mesa Verde. And it comes in 3 parts, which is sharing knowledge, right? Which is possible through cultural diversity and values. Caring for nature, which is those organic gardening techniques, and having a say in policy work, right? Making a change in your community. So that is what we mean by being active. So being involved in that justice work. And so out of these, you see these arrows kind of pointing out, when you combine all of those together or some parts of it together, you get these results. So sharing those experiences, providing nature, and leadership through food justice. And so this is the soul right here, the 3 parts of the soul that kind of our values at this program. So there are some videos which are amazing. They are edited by the same people in La Mesa Verde. I'm going to save these for the end, just so I make sure that we have enough time to get through it. And if we do, I would really love for folks to watch these videos, or maybe yeah, so I'll come back to this slide later. Can you remind me how much time we have for this? Just
he said about 20 minutes, but I mean, we're good for another like 15 minutes is fine, or less, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up so that we have a chance to see this. And if not, I'll drop the link in the chat and also send it through email so y'all can have a chance to see it too. Also, it's really neat, we have a YouTube channel. So I will come back to this, but if you're ever curious, you can just go on there and search up videos. There's some really like warm there are a lot of inspiring and warm stories because these are people's lives, right? And the breakout time would be if we watched it and we had a chance to discuss it. So these are just some data points about San Jose and Santa Clara County. So in 2017, we saw that roughly 14% of the population was experiencing food insecurity, which basically means that there's a lack of food in their home for whatever reason, and they're not getting the nutrients or like the they're not getting that healthiness that they need to be able to feel good, right? And just go about their day without feeling hungry, essentially. So in 2015, we saw that there was a 4% increase in the poorest households. So this means that more people were kind of experiencing financial issues compared to the 47% of households that are wealthy or rich. They don't have to worry about that. So we saw that there isn't so there was more of an increase in these wealthy neighborhoods in their income versus these less like low economic status families, which, you know, that is really heartbreaking, right? They're already struggling and they should be getting, you know, this they should be getting like, you know, a raise, or well, not necessarily raise. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk right now. They should at least be getting the means that they need, right? For 47% versus 4, like that's not right. So that people deserve better. So the number of families, so Second Harvest actually distributes a lot of food to like different services across Santa Clara County. And so they saw that it skyrocketed to 500,000 each month. So this is people that they were serving. And I know somebody who works at Sacred Heart, and they, you know, it's a lot of work and they serve a lot of folks. They're amazing. But this kind of number just indicates that people, it shows not just the percent, but it shows the amount of people that this is affecting. And right now in Santa Clara County, the overall population of poverty is 6%. So, you know, that's not looking very good either. And we want that number to decrease. Because there's a lot of people that live here. So hopefully we see that change. And in San Jose, the overall population of poverty is 8.7. So in Santa Clara County, it's 6.1%, but in San Jose, it's 8.7%. So it's more than the average of Santa Clara County. Like, and that's not the family's fault. That's just injustices that happen in communities for whatever reason. We know there's a lot of people of color who experience like this because this is a systemic issue. It's larger than just gardening and food. This is something that's been going on for many years. And we're still seeing the results of this, or we're still seeing the effects of this today, especially with the pandemic. So that's just a little bit about why we do this work, especially right now. And so kind of returning back to why we're bringing this up is to understand that it's a food system issue. So it's about the production, the processing, the distribution, the way that food gets to your table is really what we're focused, where it's rooted in. Because we know that there are systems that exploit people, but they produce a lot of food. When that doesn't have to be the case. People don't need to be exploited for food. It can be grown in people's neighborhoods if they have the resources and the support. So being food insecure is, you know, having a limited or uncertain access of adequate food. So that's just a little, that's a definition so that it's easier to understand when we're looking at a bunch of numbers. It can be like, what does that mean? But this kind of just helps us kind of break that down. And then food justice, which is an environmentally sustainable, healthy, fair, and democratically controlled by the community. So it's a food system that's controlled by the community instead of people that we don't even know, we don't see, and we don't talk to, because we don't know who the CEOs of this company are. We don't have a chance to sit with them, right? And have conversations with them. So that is what we mean when we say food justice. So this is sort of like a mental map of how we would see food justice, how it's achievable, the way that food justice can come about through and so we know that in order to enjoy social well-being, we have to implement a new food system. We have to transform it and implement this agroecology, which is what we hope that you all can support with, which is the gardening, community, and sharing knowledge. But why is urban gardening so important? And I love this question. I had a really big focus on this in my undergrad, and it's honestly such a honor to be able to do this. But not only does it have benefits for your mental health, in fact, going outside and getting your hands in soil is really good for the soul, for the spirit. It's just good for us, even just getting some sun, right? But apart from that, it strengthens these cultural identities. You know, we learn about other people. We learn about their experiences, why we ended up in the same place, right? And it's good to ask those questions. And it's just healthy food access for low income communities. We saw that the rates of their income aren't going up compared to rich households, and yet they still need they need the help, right? And so the least that we can do from our end is provide and help and work together so that there is one less thing, right, to worry about, or they don't have to stress as much, right? Because food can be a big stress factor. And that sense of belonging, it's a family activity and it's fun. I've done a lot of garden like community gardening, and I love it so much. I'm doing this now, right? So hopefully this for some folks this turns into a career avenue or something for you in the future. We would love to see that. So urban gardening, the potential. So people are like, okay, if you grow food in cities, like how much is that actually going to help? So this kind of breaks down like the difference that it makes. So the summer harvest produces this amount of produce, about 79 to 129 pounds. The consumption, so it, you know, it's pretty good. 50% actually consume this food that they're growing. 25% in the winter, but we know that's probably because of like weather factors, maybe like the crops. There's not as many, or, you know, whatever reason this might be. But either way, we're still glad that people are being able to consume what they put their energy into. They say each household, right, in the US can save up to this amount every year in the summer on groceries, which we love to see. That is the goal. We want to actually be able to see that it makes a difference in people's lives. And then so sharing the produce, 40% of it is harvested and shared with other folks, with the families. And yeah, I mean, it increases people's vegetable intake. So we know not only is it healthy, but it's helping people be healthier. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's about self-sufficiency. So having that control over the food that you eat, like Max had mentioned at the very beginning, that is power. So these are some photos from some of the members that are in the program. As you can see, it looks like she got some cauliflower on the right, and she is very happy. And we want to keep seeing that. So these are some of the other volunteers here holding some very lovely plants. And these are the garden beds. You know, if anybody has experience already, they might have helped with this, but this is kind of what we are going to be, what we mean by build day and what your teacher has done with folks in the past. So I'm looking forward to it. Any questions so far about anything?
Okay, what questions you have that you should have written out? Yeah, Adia.
So I was wondering, are there any organizations that you partner with?
So, that's a great question. I should have asked my manager that. But it's so organizations, I'm not really sure who, because I'm new. I just started. But I do know that they do a lot of outreach. So, you know, one of these is the school, but I'm guessing that they partner with like maybe different schools in the neighborhood. But you know what? I don't have the exact answer to the list of organizations, but I would love to get that for you. So I'm going to make sure I ask our project manager. It seems like they partner with Second Harvest, but I'm not entirely sure. So to be honest with y'all, this is my first day. So I'm very new to this. Yeah, so I just want to say that's a great question. And you caught me off guard, but I'm gonna get that answer for you because I do want to share that. Can you also remind me your name, please?
My name is Adia.
Aria? Oh, that's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I'm sorry that I don't have that exact answer right now, but I will get it to you.
But no, you're right. They like Sacred Heart partners with Second Harvest. They
Mhm.
also do some of these builds on elementary school campuses like Hellier Elementary and Franklin McKinley. So you're in the right place. You had good instincts there.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all are teaching me. I'm like, who should have given this presentation today?
Oh, you're good.
So don't, even though I didn't know the answer, still ask questions. Even if I don't know it, I'm gonna still find out the answer for you. But thanks to your very awesome teacher, we know that they in elementary schools and work with Second Harvest. Does anybody else have any questions about anything?
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
What got you interested in working for this organization specifically?
I love that question. So actually, I started to get an interest in urban gardening when I was your age. I went to a school that was, I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I went to a high school that was very unique. It was a new small school that was all sustainable, right? So everything was recycled. We grew our own food, and so I kind of got like immersed into this culture at a really young age. We're like had to take a horticulture class. So when I see teachers like the teacher you have, like encouraging students to get involved in this work, that is so close to my heart space because it was through those experiences that led me to where I am today. Then I moved to San Jose and I got my undergrad in environmental justice because I wanted to kind of carry on that legacy. There is a So there was a community garden in my local neighborhood, but then our school was also in my local neighborhood, which also had more food and produce and vegetables and just a sustainable ecosystem. So that just has always inspired me. I've been surrounded by it. And we recognize that LA in itself, I'm not sure if anybody is too familiar, but we deal with a lot of droughts, a lot of climate issues because of the heavy concentrated CO2 just from like from so many people being concentrated in one city that we have to kind of come up with our own solutions. So that is what drew me to La Mesa Verde. I have participated in other community-based programs that do gardening, but I always was like, dang, like if I had the opportunity to work with Mesa Verde, I would because it is literally my vision. It is my dream career, and it is kind of what just aligns with who I am. So I don't know if that answers your question. Um, Let me know.
It's good.
And then if y'all are curious to learn more about that, the school is called Environmental Charter High School. They opened up to elementary schools after they opened the high school so that even people of a younger age had the opportunity to learn how to do this too. So it's really all about keeping it alive, you know? Some people's mission in this world is to go into law, to be a doctor, to be like a hairstylist, right? And other folks, their mission in this life is to do this urban gardening work because it means something to them. So hopefully that's how y'all the experience that you can all get out of this too. So I really like this analogy. So there's these two photos, right? And so the first one is monoculture. And monoculture is basically this photo on the right where you're just growing one thing, right? And the reason we use this is because they like to kind of compare monoculture to the way that society or humans kind of already operate, which is like, there's only one way. And what we know about this is that it needs a lot of fertilizer for there to be life. There's not really room for diversity or change in this type of way to grow organic farm like it's a farm, right? There's it's very like one centered thing, not much change. However, intercropping is when you're growing different foods together and they kind of are surviving in balance with each other. So one of them is providing nutrients for the other plant that needs that, right? Maybe one is providing shade for another plant that needs a little more shade, and so they're planted next to each other for that purpose. And so they like to think as Mesa Verde as more of an intercropping type of community-based organizations, encouraging that diversity, encouraging those new experiences, and working together like so that something new can be brought, and so that we're in balance not only with nature, but we're also in balance with other folks in the community. So this is kind of why these two photos are here. So there was going to be a breakout time, but but the main question for this breakout was just going to be like what your thoughts are on this monoculture and intercropping ideology.
So we probably just have a few more minutes, and you know what we can do with the videos? I can come back and show those
Okay.
next time we meet, so that's okay. So maybe we do kind of a little wrap up.
Yeah.
Great.
So we're getting near to the end. Actually, this is the last slide.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what we really want y'all to take away is that urban gardening in the community is rooted in justice. If we want to see this change, if we want to see people's lives get better, then this is one way to do that. There's many different ways to get involved in shaping the world we want to see. But urban spaces aren't going to go away, right? And so instead of kind of seeking for solutions outside, we can look at solutions within and among each other. And we're gonna bear so many better fruits from that. So this last slide is just a bibliography of all the research that was shared. If you want to take a photo, you can, just for your own purposes, like if you want to look into it a little more. But yes, this is the conclusion of this presentation. I'll leave this up for y'all just in case. But I also am going to share our Instagram and website in the chat. So if you are interested in volunteering, even if it's outside of school, they have a volunteer form on there. So you just go on there, you fill it out, and then you can sign up for different days to help out La Mesa Verde. So does anybody have like any remaining questions, curiosities, concerns?
Wait, oh yeah, we got Finley.
Yeah, of course.
So earlier you said that you wanted to transform the food system. What exactly do you mean by that?
So transforming the food system is, most of the food that we get is being grown by other folks that we have really maybe we have family that grows this food, but a lot of the times we're like disconnected from that. So very disconnected from where our food is coming from and the journey that it has to take in order to be able to be stocked in the shelves and to make it to our table. When you're transforming the food systems, you're not looking for other people, right, to do all that labor for you or to provide for you as a community. Like, you're transforming it because you're also getting those needs met within your same neighborhoods, if that makes sense. And by doing that, then you're challenging these big systems that profit so much off of, let's be honest, like off of this exploitation, right, of other communities who are often also like our cousins, are like I have families that help grow the avocados. Like, those are my uncles and my aunties, and like those people are very dear to my heart. But I also know that they're providing for people and they're giving so much of their energy. But that brings us, when we're able to kind of have that shared knowledge, when we're able to share that, working together, it makes the food system stronger, but it also is including our own customs, our own, family values, and it just puts more love and heart into the food that we eat, if that makes sense.
So also for that, especially since you focus in more urban environments, do you think there's actually enough land to farm enough food on?
And this is in terms of like in urban spaces or in general? I just want to make sure.
In general, you need like a lot of land to make enough food for the year, because you earlier the photos were like of one head of cauliflower, and that would
Mhm.
last like a meal or two.
Yeah. So I think that's a great question. That's something that I need to look into more. I do know that that's most likely why they do try to grow some of these on schools because it's a little bit of more extra space. But we know that the families who volunteer have the space in their backyards. We don't know how much space, right? Especially me, like I have no clue. And so it's hard to say like that we have all the land that we need for this vision, right? Because but we have um I that's a great question. Okay. I gotta get back to you on that one because I actually don't know, like looking at a map, like map wise, I understand. Like I feel like I would need to see it and like see how much space are we actually working with here. Um but I want to say that for having like 190 active gardeners, it's doing its job, but I will say that I don't know. I don't know, but I know that we are making do with the space that we do have. And I can only really speak on terms of like the city of San Jose. I'm not really sure about other surrounding cities, but I would be curious to look into that too. Just so we can see how impactful this can be. But I'm gonna kind of like give you the same response as the person before. I'm gonna look into that question and I'm gonna get back to you so that I can give you a clear answer.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, that's something that's a good those are good questions, and we'll come back and talk about them. Maybe somebody in here would end up wanting to do this as your project, and then you'll get us more information. So that's perfect. All right, I think we've got to get going to our next thing. So thank you so much for
Yeah, thank you.